What's up, everybody? Trevor Sikkema here, welcoming you into another episode of the Draft Network's live mock draft series. This is the final chapter of our free agency mock drafts. We, a week ago, did our first pre-free agency mock draft. Then on Thursday, we did a mid-free agency mock draft. And today we are doing the post-free agency mock draft. Very, very excited about this one because this is the time in the draft calendar in which things really change. I mean, as guys watch more tape or we hear more about what the NFL might be thinking, and even when little moves get made here and there with different teams, we'll kind of change the team needs a little bit. But until free agency rolls around, we're not exactly sure, 100% at least, what a team's draft needs are going to look like on draft weekend. Now we know. Now we have a much better idea after the free agency period. And so this is also the time of the year when mocks completely look different. I mean, I think they gradually change a little bit, November, December, early January when we get the final order, all that kinds of stuff. But now they totally change. Now the team needs are completely different. And I say we're working through this mock draft because I'm not alone in this one. My producer, Zach Cohen, as you guys know him, is my producer on Sundays. He is going to be doing this mock draft with me. Zach, you there, my friend?
Oh yeah, I am here and I am more ready than ever. Trevor, this is the home stretch. This is the fourth quarter. They got 10 minutes left. Got to nail the buzzer beater. All the sports analogies moshed into one because these mock drafts are for real now. We have a better idea of what the teams want, what they need. The rumors are going to start flying fast and furious. The mock draft machine is going to be on fire. I can't wait. This is my favorite time of the year.
Dude, it's going to be great because now we really shift. I feel like for probably the last couple of months, I've been doing mock drafts as, hey, here's what I would do. I've kind of been able to watch the players. I see the team needs. This is what I think would happen. Now we're really doing mock drafts more for what we believe will happen. I think it's going to reflect that a little bit when we get going now. So you ready to get started? You ready to pull up the machine? Get going?
Let's do it.
Full first round mock draft, a post-free agency mock draft. Right here, right now. We're starting off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they made a lot of different moves in free agency. I mean, the big one was they signed Shaq Griffin, corner from Seattle, to come over and play opposite C.J. Henderson. They also re-signed Sidney Jones. They got Carlos Hyde. I'm reading it off now because there's so many of them. They signed Carlos Hyde, Marvin Jones, Philip Dorsett, Jihad Ward, Malcolm Brown. They traded for him from the Saints. They got Rudy Ford, Rayshon Jenkins. They signed so many. I know there's even more that I'm not even naming, but the big ones that they didn't hit, of course, is quarterbacks. We think they're going to address that at number one, and then also tight end. There's a little bit of a preview for what we might be picking for them later in the first round. But here is Trevor Lawrence. I think it's got to stick Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, pretty easy. Next, please.
The New York Jets, you're like, let's get to the change. Let's get to these steps. New York Jets, they made a couple of really nice signings. I mean, I love the Corey Davis signing. I love the Carl Lawson signing, but also brought in Keelan Cole and LaMarcus Joyner too, which I thought were really nice depth additions. I think they're going to help the team out a lot. And so I thought the Jets did a really nice job of attacking their biggest areas of weakness on their roster, I'll say, in free agency to really give them flexibility to do what they want here in the draft. But this one didn't change either. This one's going to be Zach Wilson for me. Now, you can go back and forth. You can say Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, but ultimately, I think it's going to be a quarterback, which kind of brings up an interesting discussion of what happens with Sam Darnold after that. I think they're going to just try and flip him for an extra day 2 pick in this year's draft, I would assume. Maybe next year, because we've heard that teams might value next year's draft picks maybe a little bit more than usual, because there wasn't a normal scouting process, with everything and that was happening in the pandemic and the COVID-19 protocols and all that with travel and getting together and meeting prospects and everything. I think a lot of NFL teams are going to try and stock up as many 2022 draft picks as they can. Maybe that's Jets, maybe it's not, but I think that here it's going to stay Zach Wilson, which brings us up to the Miami Dolphins, who I don't know. I'm interested to have your expertise here, Zach, because I thought the Dolphins were going to make a bigger splash, full pun intended for a Dolphin, but I thought that they were going to make more noise with some bigger signings in free agency. I mean, they brought in Will Fuller, who I like, but that was it. I don't know. Did you think that they were going to make more moves?
Absolutely not. This is exactly what I thought they were going to do, because everything we've heard out of Miami Dolphins land is, including Chris Greer, was like, yo, just because we got money doesn't mean we're going to spend it. That was last offseason's philosophy, because they had a ton of money. They wanted to get the guys in the building. Now they're getting guys in the building, but at a bargain price. They're scouring the bargain bin. They're the raccoons of free agency right now, trying to pick out the last remaining pieces that no one else wanted to spend big dollar for. And that it seems to be working so far because they're filling holes with the guys that they think they need. And look, they just went 10-6. They went with that roster, and they're slowly improving, getting the bench better, getting special teams, the things that aren't as flashy. It's not supposed to be a flashy offseason for the Dolphins, unless there's a big quarterback trade, but we don't know. They got some options at 3. So what do you think they do here at 3?
I mean, I still think they're moving out. Just because this was a thought that I had with them before free agency, and they didn't really do anything in free agency, so that doesn't really change what I originally thought. I think that they're going to move out of 3. I think they're more likely to not pick at number 3 overall than they are to pick there. And the team that's the most aggressive that we've done before here on this mock draft machine format, and it's Carolina Panthers. I look at Carolina, and when you look at who they went after in free agency, they didn't have a ton of money. They really didn't, but they brought in Denzel Perryman, which I really like. They get to plug him in the middle. He gets to be a downhill guy. They get to play Shaq Thompson and Jeremy Chin more in space. They also brought in Hassan Reddick, who knows Matt Rule very well from their Temple days together. He was at Temple when Matt Rule was at Temple, and I like those as well. Pat Elflein, I don't know. That doesn't really move the needle for me. Brought in Dan Arnold, brought in David Moore. But all that to say, like, it was the right signings for them. They attacked their areas of need in free agency, which really freed them up, I think, to make it a lot of moves, and even a really impactful move here to move up to number 3 overall. So I thought that this was probably the move before free agency. I think it's even stronger of a move after free agency. So let's do a Carolina trade here. I know we've done it before, but I think that's the most likely. So go Carolina. Yeah, Carolina offering, and then Miami with number 3. What did Joe have this trade as in his latest mock draft?
So Joe traded a first and a second round this year, and a first round, and I think a fourth round next year to move up to 1. In the past, we've done a first this year, a first next year, and a third next year. I think that's what we did last time.
I mean, sometimes you can even get away with it as you like just a second this year if you wanted to, but let's go first this year. Man, I just think they're going to be too many teams that are gunning up for it, so you can't do a third round pick. Second round pick this year, a first round pick next year, and a fourth round pick next year.
Right.
I mean, that's good. That's going to be an overpay price for the machine, but I'm trying to take into consideration the fact that teams like Philadelphia, Denver, the 49ers, New England Patriots, Washington football team, like all of these teams are going to be looking up to go potentially get a quarterback. So I think they're going to have to outbid them, and having number 8 automatically puts you ahead of the 8 ball. Full pun intended, I guess, again.
Wow.
But
2 for 2.
I think other teams are still going to throw a lot of draft picks at Miami. So let's make this happen. Let's go with this deal here.
That should happen, and it all makes a bunch of sense, right? The first-round picks in the future, always at a premium, especially when moving up for a quarterback. So they accepted it. Panthers on the clock at 3.
Justin Fields. We're going Justin Fields here. I think Justin Fields is the right pick for him. That would put the Atlanta Falcons up at number 4. So Atlanta restructuring Matt Ryan's deal was the biggest thing to happen. I mean, like they released a couple of players. They didn't bring back Keanu Neal. They released Tack McKinley. So like they have holes on their roster. But restructuring Matt Ryan was the big change for me. And what they did was they took $20 million of his base salary for this year, and they turned it into a signing bonus that they could now prorate it over the next 3 years, which in doing so made Matt Ryan's cap space only $26.9 million, I believe, instead of right around $40 million. So that's good. They saved themselves about $13 million of cap space this year, but they also then have to add $7 million next year and the year after. So all of a sudden, it's not like, okay, let's get through this year with Matt Ryan and then we can cut him next year. They're with Matt Ryan, I think, for the foreseeable future, especially with the $48 million cap hit that he would have next season. So I don't think, if they trade him, they could spread it out a little bit more. But all of that to say, I don't think they're taking a quarterback at 4. I know that they were at Trey Lance's pro day. Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot were there, but I don't think it's happening. Instead, what I think is most likely is I think the Falcons are trading out. And the team that I now look at with the most to offer might just be the Denver Broncos when it comes to going up to go get Trey Lance, because we have often had a corner. And I love when this happens because I have mocked Caleb Farley to the Denver Broncos for like 4 months, dude. Like, I'm sick of it. I want to give him somebody else. I'm bored over here. Now they make 2 big signings. They go get Ronald Darby, and they also pick up Kyle Fuller from the Bears. And so all of a sudden, corner ain't a need for them at all. It's really not. They brought back Justin Simmons. Von Miller is coming back. That defense is great. They hit wide receiver last year with Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. They have Tim Patrick. They've got Courtland Sutton coming back. They've got the 2 tight ends, Noah Fant, Albert Okwuegbunam. Like, all those guys are there. Yeah, they might have a right tackle need, which, if they end up staying at 9, they could get a really dang good right tackle at number 9, but go get a quarterback. They might think they're a quarterback away right now. I don't know what their views of Drew Lock are, but if you got the chance to go get Trey Lance, I think that's the way you do it. And I think that would also be really advantageous for Atlanta too. So let's do a Denver Broncos trade up with Atlanta here. Let's get the trades going.
Definitely. For all the fanfare around what the Jets will do, what the Dolphins will do, I feel like not enough people are talking about what the Falcons hold the keys to the draft after the Dolphins. I mean, it's like they could go so many different ways. They could impact so many different teams. So we got the Broncos trading up to the Falcons, which makes a ton of sense because we really don't know what the Falcons could do. And after, like you said, all the moves the Broncos made, it's possible.
So it's going to be in the same arena, right? Because if Trey Lance is the last of the big 4 quarterbacks there, you're going to have even more desperation, I feel, from teams like Washington and New England and San Francisco. I don't think Philly would give up a huge price tag for Trey Lance. I think they might for like Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, but I don't think they would for Trey Lance. So they might be out of this. But those 3 teams, I think, are going to really drive up the price. So I think that we're talking about a first-round pick next year as well, even though it's only a 5-spot jump. I think they're going first-round pick next year. What about a 3rd-rounder next year and a 3rd-rounder this year?
Okay, so a 1-1 and a 3-3.
Yeah. I think they would do this. And I think the Broncos would do this too if they really believe in Trey Lance, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how you feel about Drew Lock. Like you said, they've kind of around him. It's a make or break year for him this year, but then it's like, is it?
I also think there's a chance they might be able to flip Drew Lock for like a mid-round pick anyways. So essentially, the Broncos might be only dealing a first-rounder this year, a first-rounder next year, and like a 3rd-rounder next year, because they might be able to get a pick that's somewhat similar for Drew Lock. So I think this is good for both sides. So let's do this trade. Let's do this one.
Send the offer. Phone line's looking good. And, Atlanta moved back to 9. Denver's at 4, taking Trey Lance. That is 4 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks.
Yeah.
You can imagine the frenzy this is going to cause.
That's what I think is going to happen. Cincinnati Bengals. They signed Riley Reef. I know that. I want to make sure that I don't forget anybody else.
They lost.
They brought in Mike Hilton. And of course the Trey Hendrickson contract as well. So but that's Trey Hendrickson's kind of like we flipped out Carl Lawson for Trey Hendrickson. So, I mean, the need would still be there for them. Riley Reef, only a 1-year deal though. So it's not like they signed him to be this big time cornerstone kind of a guy. They also signed Larry Ogunjobi, Brandon Wilson. They re-signed for a 2-year extension. Tony Brown, they got from a 1-year deal. Chidobe Awuzie, that was the big one. 3-year deal, $21 million. So, they lose William Jackson again, but they just go corner, so they pick him up. They pick Mike Hilton up, but even then, I think corner was a big need because we knew that they were going to lose William Jackson. If you're throwing a Awuzie in there, so he's going to be on the outside, Wayne's going to be on the outside, you're going to get Mike Hilton in the middle. So I don't think the corner's as strong of a need. Offensive line, all that to say, like offensive line, Penny Sewell is still on the board. Riley Reef does not take away from them going offensive line, so he's going to go to number 5.
Right. No receiver, you don't think? We've kind of talked about this too. Is like their receivers aren't bad by any means. Losing AJ Green might not change anything either, like what their original plans were.
I don't think it does. I don't think it changes at number 5. I think you go with the offensive lineman. I think that's what you got to do.
All right, so Sewell at 5, and I am very curious to see what you do here because you've been on the Kyle Pitts to Philadelphia bandwagon for quite some time now.
Yeah, Philly made no moves in free agency. They didn't really have the option to. So this doesn't really change a lot. They're going wide receiver. And so you pick Jamar Chase, you pick Kyle Pitts. I would go Kyle Pitts because I think he brings more value to the team. Ja'Marr Chase is a fantastic outside receiver. He can play in the slot as well, but Kyle Pitts even gives you that tight end versatility. So why wouldn't you want to play a guy who can be on the line in jumbo tight end packages, can do a lot for you in play action, can play in the slot, can play off the line of scrimmage, can even play X if you wanted him to. He can do it all. His versatility is fantastic, and so I think that he still makes the most sense for the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, so we'll lock in Kyle Pitts at 6. Brings us to the Detroit Lions at number 7. Wow.
So they lose Kenny Golladay. Obviously, they have Jared Goff now. Re-signed Romeo Okwara to a pretty big deal, 3-year, $39 million. Brought in Michael Brockers, who they are very excited about. Dan Campbell said that he's one of the people who could wield the hammer of Thor, which I thought was that was big time praise. Yeah. So wide receiver, we talked about, okay, they don't have any wide receivers under contract. They lose Kenny Golladay, but they bring in Tyrell Williams. They also bring in Rashad Perriman. So I don't think, they do that on purpose because I think that they're fortifying the depth at receiver, but they still need a big time receiver prospect. I'm gonna go Ja'Marr Chase. I'll go Ja'Marr Chase. I think that's for the roster they currently have now. I think that he makes the most sense for them because you're not going to want Williams or Perryman getting off press coverage as an X receiver a lot. So I think that that's probably the smartest move. So let's stick with receiver, but let's go Ja'Marr Chase here instead of say Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, got to get that Kenny Golladay replacement somehow, which brings us to Miami. They traded back from 3, so they also picked up a second round this year and a first and a 4th next year.
Yes.
In that trade.
Correct. Would they still pick Jalen Waddle?
I think they would consider it, but it's interesting because no one seems to really be talking about how they could use some offensive line upgrades. I don't think they're willing to move on from Austin Jackson or Robert Hunt at tackle yet. I also don't think Jackson's that good of a fit inside. Eric Flowers at left guard could be upgraded. Solomon Kinley at right guard actually played pretty well. Probably their second best rookie.
Didn't they just give Eric Flowers like a ton of money?
3 years, $30 million, I think it was last year.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking up his contract because I'm wondering how flexible they are there.
Yeah. So they actually are not. They need to create some cap if they're gonna. Once they've signed their entire draft class, which projects to be around 11-10 million maybe, then they'll only have 1 or 2 mil left. Barring moves, of course. I still think Waddle is a possibility. In fact, you might even say he could be the best receiver on the team if they draft him. You could say that. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But him, Parker, Fuller, that's a dangerous threesome with a lot of different skill sets for them. Yeah. I think they would definitely consider Kyle Pitts, too. Him and Mike Gesicki would be an unreal combo to roll out in 2 tight end sets, things like that. But they could also consider Micah Parsons. They could use a strong side linebacker right now. They could even go edge, but that could be what they target at 18. So based off their moves that they've made, I don't know if that much has changed. If anything, I think they're in a better position at 8 because the value is much better. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, them moving back from 3 to 8 gives them a lot of flexibility here. And I'm looking at Eric Flowers' contract right now. You're not going to be able to cut him this year because he didn't really save you anything. It's basically 10 million is the cap number, 10 million in dead cap. So you don't really save anything by moving on from him this year, but you save a potential 10 million in cap next year if he stinks and you want to cut him.
The power is in your hands.
I know. I'm thinking about either Rashawn Slater or Jalen Waddle. That's who it's. That's what it's up to for me.
I think if they take Slater here, because I think they may be better suited at 18 if they can't get a Rashad Bateman, which fits the type of receivers that they've loved so far, right? But if they don't take a receiver here, I think they're better suited waiting till the second round.
Right. Yeah, well, let's go Slater. Here. We give him a potential offensive line upgrade at either guard or tackle, and then you can hit receiver in the second round, somewhere on day 2. It's such a deep class, so I think that makes the most sense there. Atlanta Falcons at 9, so they move back from 4 to 9. So you're sitting here now. Edge, big need. Offensive tackles, big need. Oh, man. I'm looking at their depth chart now because they need pass rush so bad. I mean, they basically got volatile Dante Fowler Jr., and that's about it. Grady Jarrett's in the middle, but that's truly it. Offensive tackle, they have McGarry, they have Matthews, they have some guys that they're, Chris Lindstrom's in there, Matt Hennessy's in there. I think they want to go edge, but I don't know if Azeez Ojulari goes 9.
Right. Maybe they could take a cornerback, possibly. Just going best player available might be the move here.
What if... Oh, hold on. I'm cooking up a trade. Hold on.
Man. While you do that, this is a great time to recap what has happened so far, because we've had a couple of trades already. Trevor Lawrence at 1, Zach Wilson at 2. Nothing out of the unordinary. The Panthers moved back, sent a first-round pick, a second-round pick this year, and like I said, first-round pick next year and a fourth-round pick next year as well. To the Dolphins, to 8, jump up, take Fields. The Broncos, after everything they did in free agency, move up from 9 to 4, take Trey Lance. They also coughed up a first-round pick next year and some change. Bengals going Sewell. Eagles going Pitts. Lions going Chase. Dolphins taking Rashawn Slater, which brings us to the Falcons, and I see the smoke coming from the gears. What's going on right now?
Okay, we're going to have Atlanta trading back again.
Oh, all right. With who?
I'm going to have the Arizona Cardinals trading up from 16 to 9. Arizona, now, it does not make sense from a draft pick perspective because Arizona barely has any picks, but follow me here. They have made massive splashes already, not just in free agency, but going out to get guys. I mean, they brought in Rodney Hudson, they brought in JJ Watt, they brought in AJ Green. Like, all of these players are here for them to make a big run. They're truly going all in. Like, they think they're close. Go be closer, because now you have a major corner need with Patrick Peterson gone. Give up a first rounder this year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A 5th rounder this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then a 2nd and a 4th next year.
All right.
Does this do it?
To the Falcons for 9. The machine says it's very likely. So we'll send this offer.
Okay. Whoa. Wait. Take the 4th off. How much is it? How much is it effective if we take the 4th off? Oh. Okay, do this.
All right. You sound like a kid in a candy store, and I can't blame you. And there it is.
All right, let's go. So the Falcons get more ammo next year for Terry Fontenot to be able to move and do whatever he wants. We're going Caleb Farley here. Give me Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley and Byron Murphy and Budda Baker all in the same secondary. I mean, like, I love it. The Cardinals are all in. Go up and get the dude. Go up and get the corner that you need. I don't know if JC Horn's going to be there. And even if he is, would you rather sit there at 16 and wait for him to fall from you? I mean, maybe you would, but all you're losing, okay, a 5th round pick next year and a 2nd round pick next year. Man, go up and get the better corner. Go up and get the CB1 in this class. Go up and get Caleb Farley. Some people, Cardinal fans are going to hate me for that. Whatever. I don't care. Dallas Cowboys, number 10. I mean, they lost Jadobi Wuzie.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Jordan Lewis as well, did they? Right?
Yeah, I believe they re-signed him.
No, they re-signed Jordan.
Yes.
Lewis. Okay, so they brought back Jordan Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Keanu Neal, safety. Obviously brought back Dak. That was a big one.
Is Keanu Neal? Is he playing safety for them? He might moonlight as linebacker a little bit. Which either way, I don't think that makes too much of a difference for this pick because
Patrick Surtain is still the pick here. Patrick Surtain on one side.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Diggs on the other. That's just got to be Jordan Lewis somewhere there in between.
Now the Giants. Things have changed a bit.
Yeah, no, Giants have had some fun this free agency period. Of course, the major signing for them is bringing in Mike Glennon. I'm kidding. Calm down, everybody. Jeez. Have some fun. Kenny Galladay ended up signing for a 4-year, $72 million deal. That's $18 million a year. He is their wide receiver 1. No doubt about it. I mean, you do not sign Kenny Galladay and then think that you need a wide receiver one. I don't think that they would go after Jalen Waddle, especially with the guys that they already have, with Darius Slayton, with Sterling Shepard, with Evan Ingram, with now Kevin Rudolph as well, who they also signed. Now they get Kenny Golladay. I think wide receivers off the table for them at number 11. I think they're looking elsewhere. They also brought in John Ross, so they're trying to revive his career. Leonard Williams, they brought back. That was a big one. Signed Reggie Ragland, which is kind of just like hey, we brought in somebody new, so we don't think we have to go after linebacker early. Although I don't think he's that big of an impact. This one's either Kwity Paye or Jalen Phillips, I think.
Let's go to edge.
Jalen Phillips is the most impactful player, so let's just go with Jalen Phillips here.
All right, second week in a row. There was a little pushback on you last week when you gave Phillips the Giants, but it seems like you're pretty high on him anyway.
He's the best pass rusher in the class. It's not close. I don't know what to tell you.
There you go.
I get it. The off the field, the injury concerns, whatever. It's not really even close. He's the best pass rusher in the class. So New York going all in on him, taking him at 11. San Francisco 49ers at 12. They quarterback need, but no quarterbacks there that I would want them to take. I don't think they're going to go with Mac Jones. Interior offensive line. I mean, they made Trent Williams a very rich man. 6-year, $138 million deal. That's amazing. Oof. They also signed Alex Mack, longtime center, to a 1-year, $5 million deal. Brought back Jason Verrett, brought back Emmanuel Mosley, so that we were wondering what they were going to do there at corner. Mm-hmm. Interior offensive line, still a need for them, but I think the corner also, because they didn't re-sign Richard Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking out their depth chart right now. Verrett's on one side.
Mm-hmm. And I know we've made quite a few trades already in this mock, but this is a team that I could see pulling a trigger on draft day. It looks like they've got all the pieces together. Depends how confident they are in Jimmy Garoppolo, which from our perspective, I don't know if we're confident in him as much as they might be. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Niners, initiate a draft day haul to get up in the top 5, top 6, and snag the quarterback that they want, because it's looking like they're going to have to jump up pretty highly unless they're so high on Mac Jones.
Man, would this team be wild enough to draft Jalen Waddle? Because they have Deebo Samuel, they have Brandon Ayuk.
Wow.
And then, they have a bunch of guys behind them. Richie James is there. Juwan Jennings is there. I don't really have faith in Juwan Jennings, but...
As much as I love that fit, my goodness, I don't know if they would go that far.
I kind of think they would.
Hey man, you're the one clicking. You're telling me what to do. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
That's true. Who's left at corner? Is the only one left J.C. Horn?
Yeah, J.C. Horn, Greg Newsome, Eric Stokes. Nothing too.
No, let's go Jalen Waddle. Wow. No, let's go Jalen Waddle here. You give Kyle Shanahan all the options, he's going to be able to figure it out, and he's going to make it a lot of fun. So we're going Jalen Waddle. Yeah, even all over the corner needs. Let's go. People are going to, again, yell at me and tell me that they can get wide receiver in the second round. Sure, you can get a wide receiver in the second round. You can't get Jalen Waddle. You can't get what he brings. You cannot find that anywhere outside of this singular pick. Los Angeles Chargers. They had a good free agency. I'm going to look at everything that they brought in because I don't want to mess it up. So they brought in Corey Linsley, the center from the Packers. They also brought in Matt Fielder, who I think it was a really underrated signing. So they upgraded offensive tackle and interior offensive line right there. Re-signed Michael Davis. Brought in tight end Jared Cook. They lost Hunter Henry, but it is what it is. We figured that they were going to lose Hunter Henry. Christian Darrisaw is still there. I think that's probably the move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going Darrisaw. Yeah, we're going Darrisaw here. I think
nothing much else to be said about that. That's pretty. They've clearly made a priority in protecting Justin Herbert. I don't know what they've done other than adding some receiving options for him, but Darrisaw seems to fall in line with what they've done so far, and he's a good player. So 14 Vikings, maybe they'll follow suit.
Vikings had a big interior offensive line need going into free agency. They didn't address it. They instead went interior defensive line, which is also a big need for them. But they brought in Dalvin Tomlinson, who was more of a nose tackle type from the New York Giants, but I guess they wanted to play 3-tech, so okay. They also brought in Patrick Peterson, which is a corner upgrade there for them. Well, so they hope. Mm-hmm. I guess I did not think that they were going to shell out that much money for a corner. I didn't think that their cornerback situation was nearly bad enough to do so. They have Cam Dantzler. They have Jeff Gladney. I mean, I just didn't think that it was going to happen. But instead, now they have Patrick Peterson as well. So corner is definitely not a direction that they're going. But we know that Rick Spielman loves his cornerbacks. This is always an Elijah Vera Tucker spot. And I think I'm going to stick with that. Trayvon Merrick is very interesting here, as is a potential edge rusher. They never prioritize edge like that. So I guess I don't really think that they're going to do it. I don't have faith in them that they're going to do that. So let's just go Elijah Vera Tucker here.
All right, which brings us to the Patriots. And we could go off on the pages, but the floor is yours, my man. Sheesh.
They made an unreal amount of moves.
Oh my God. I think they offered me a contract. They might have offered you a contract as well. Must have gotten lost in the mail with everyone else's. I don't know.
They obviously bring back Cam Newton, so they have a potential starting quarterback there, unless they made a huge trade up for like a Justin Fields or a Zach Wilson or something like that. But we think that Cam's probably going to be their starter next year. Also brought in Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar. They have Trent Brown. They have David Andrews. Those are some offensive line upgrades. This is once again going to be a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. Have Montravius Adams, Henry Anderson, brought in Matt Judon, Kyle Van Noy. I mean, like Jalen Mills. This list just goes on and on. It's crazy. Devon Godchaux, I forgot as well. Man, they just brought in so many players that makes you think that they're going to get aggressive for a quarterback. And I think that they are. It's just hard for me to see them truly outbidding a team like Carolina at number 8 or Philadelphia at 6 if they're in the equation, or like Denver at 9. It's just jumping from 15 to 2 or 3 or 4 over those other teams that also want a quarterback. I think it's important to throw in there too. So I needed to say it with the the upward inflection there. Make sure I got that in. It's hard for me to see that. So I know they're going to get aggressive, but I don't think that's where it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. But Devontae Smith is still on the board, which we've done that before to them. I don't think don't quote me on this. I don't. Oh, really? I was going to say I don't think Kendrick Bourne or Nelson Aguilar would dissuade them from taking Devontae Smith, but they could still go best player available. I don't think this roster is still as good as people make it out to be. Great, they got 2 top 10 tight ends, arguably, but after that, still got some moves to make, which is why I would agree with you. I don't think they would consider taking a Mac Jones here because I don't think he's.
I don't know. They gave a lot of they gave a lot of money to Nelson Aguilar though. Like if it was like a 1-year deal, like hey, we're just bringing in another receiver, then I could understand that.
I would just say go best player available. Devontae, even then, like why not? But that's not really their like MO. Yeah, they spent a 1st-round pick on N'Keal Harry. If you guys haven't forgotten about him yet, so just taking the best player available might be the best option. Trading down if there's a team that likes Mac Jones enough or wants Devontae Smith or Parsons and think they couldn't get him seems like a Belichick-esque move possibly. So they've got some options.
It's between Micah Parsons and Devontae Smith for me. I just don't know how to put myself in Bill Belichick's head because I don't know what he's thinking, especially after this free agency. I suppose you just gotta put
yourself in the dog's head.
I suppose you're right. And Nelson Aguilar shouldn't sway them from drafting Devontae Smith if they really like him. All right, we'll go Devontae Smith. All right, fine. We'll do it.
Brings us
Falcons,
to the Falcons
finally up here. All right, we got to pick up the pace here in the second half of this mock, but we're still going to try to explain all of the situations that we possibly can. Falcons at 16. They've moved back twice now, so they've gotten a handful of players. Their biggest needs at edge. Azeez Ojulari is on the board here. I think this is an easy pick for them. So they're going to go Ojulari. Ojulari was a Georgia player. Now he gets to stay in Atlanta. This makes a ton of sense. Their biggest need. It's one of the best players in the class. So let's go Azeez Ojulari at 16.
Yep, makes a ton
of sense. Big
sense.
win for the Falcons, trading back twice and getting themselves Azeez Ojulari. Oakland Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders. I would love to give them Micah Parsons, but what does their offensive line even look like at this point? I can't even keep up with all the moves. Got rid of Gabe Jackson. Richie Incognito was out. Then he's back in. They moved on from Trenton Brown. Moved on from Rodney Hudson. Man, Colt Miller's on left tackle. I know that. Oh, they need a right tackle bad. It's Tevin Jenkins time. We're going Tevin Jenkins. Oh, Gruden would love Tevin Jenkins. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Tevin Jenkins, absolutely. I think that's got to be the pick there. They need offensive line somehow, some way. Miami Dolphins at 18. Who did we end up settling on?
We gave him Slater at 8 after trading back from 3.
Okay. All right. So they traded back from 3. Got a couple extra draft picks. Now they're sitting here at 18.
Easy. Chalk. It's a chalk pick to me, Trevor.
Wait, what is it? Is it Parsons? Is that who you're going to
I think it's got to be Parsons.
Okay. All right. We'll go Parsons here. Parsons is a very intriguing Brian Flores type of player that you can play in a lot of different ways. Went to Penn State as an edge rusher. They transferred him over to really playing middle linebacker, and man, he's been able to flash. I think he's been fantastic. He certainly was at the end of his 2019 season, opted out for 2020, so we didn't get to see him this year. But all right, cool. Michael Parsons at 18. Oh, Rashawn Slater, Michael Parsons. What a haul there for the Dolphins.
Love it.
Washington football team up at 19. They went out and got themselves Curtis Samuel, so now they got a fun offensive. They also went out and got themselves Ryan Fitzpatrick. I better mention that as well. They also brought in William Jackson. William Jackson, the corner. That's who I was trying to say. Not Will Fuller.
Wrong William.
Yeah, the Bill Jackson III. So they still have a big offensive line need. Who are the offensive tackles that are left?
Oh, they have Jerron Christian as their left tackle, Sadiq Charles as their backup, which I think would lend itself perfectly to a tackle. Samuel Cosme just had a fantastic showing.
He did. He's got left tackle experience as well. So we'll go Samuel Cosme here. Let's do that. I don't know if Washington people are going to be mad at me because Bateman's on the board and they might want me to pick Bateman. But I mean, they just signed Curtis Samuel, so maybe not. I feel like you're all right there. Chicago.
Oof.
I don't know, man. I mean, like they signed Andy Dalton. The Chicago free agency period just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't really know what they're doing because I know that they were interested in Russell Wilson and they tried to make a Russell Wilson trade. Dan Patrick said that they were going to give up 3 first-round picks, a couple of day 2 picks, and 2 starters. Was what the trade was for Russell Wilson, and Pete Carroll said no. So they made the attempt for Russell Wilson, but how do you go after Russell Wilson potentially, and then just like, well, our backup plan's Andy Dalton. Like Andy Dalton's not going to. I'm so terrified that this team's going to sign themselves Mac Jones just to try to convince ownership to keep them around, because I don't know how Ryan Pace, the general manager, and Matt Nagy can sit here and think that Andy Dalton's going to save them their jobs. They won more games than they should have last year. The team's not as good this year. What are they? I just don't understand what they're doing.
Nobody does. Nobody knows what's going on in Chicago. It's not a fun time to be a Bears fan. Sorry, Paige, our trusted leader. It's not. It's things aren't going south up north in Chicago.
I mean, I guess. Well, now they have a huge corner need, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to take J.C. Horn? Desmond Trufant on one side. Now they got Jalen Johnson on the other. I guess they could think that they're fine there. Eddie Jackson's obviously a really great safety piece for them. Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, okay. Roquan Smith, Dane Trevathan, okay. All right, maybe they won't go defense at all. They got Darnell Mooney. They have Anthony Miller. But Anthony Miller's contract's up next year. So is Allen Robinson's. Oh, Lord have mercy. No, they have to pick offensive line. It's so bad. Okay, go to offensive tackle. What do we got?
Offensive tackle. Yeah.
You have to pick Eichenberg. You have to pick Eichenberg here. Eichenberg, by the way, I finished watching his film, and like Eichenberg is absolutely worth a back-end first-round pick. Eichenberg will be a very nice, if you need a rookie to start for you at offensive tackle, he could do it. A lot of other guys, like, they might have better athletic upside, but Eichenberg will allow you to play him at offensive tackle in week 1 in the NFL, and he will not be overwhelmed. And that's exactly what the Chicago Bears need. So Eichenberg here at 20.
Perfect.
Colts up at 21. Let me look up what the Colts did in free agency.
And while you do that, here's what happened the first 20 picks if you're just joining us. 4 quarterbacks, first 4 picks. Don't at us, but you can follow us. Our Twitter handles are right down there. We got Sewell to the Bengals. Pitts chase. Dolphins traded back to Slater. Cardinals traded up from 16 with the Falcons, who traded back from 4. So Falcons did 2 trades. Traded with Cardinals, who got Farley, possible Patrick Peterson replacement. Patrick Surtain, Jalen Phillips, and Jalen Waddle. 2 back-to-back Jalen picks that were...
Different spelling? No relation?
Yes, no relation at all. Very interesting picks, to say the least, but that's what Trevor settled on. Very fun. That's a very fun 49ers offense if that happens. Darisaw, AVT, right away. 2 offensive linemen that are much needed. Devontae Smith to the Patriots. We talked about that for a little bit. Finally settled on him. Ojulari to the Falcons after 2 trades back. Tevin Jenkins, Micah Parsons. Cosme, Eichenberg, Colts.
Colts didn't do a lot of free agency, and I didn't think they did a lot, but I was making sure I remembered here. Carson Wentz was obviously the big addition with the trade once the new league year opened up. They also brought back Marlon Mack. Not a lot of money, though, and I mean, they already have Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor, so I figured that he wasn't going to sign for a lot of money. They also brought in Xavier Rhodes, re-signing on a 1-year deal, got $6 million. So, I mean, it's not like, they brought back Xavier Rhodes, so I don't think they're going to go corner. Could they go corner? Could they still go Greg Newsome?
They could.
Nah.
I don't know if they would go first-round wide receiver, but I love Rashad Bateman to the Colts. I think he's like their wide receiver 1. I'm sorry, Michael Pittman Truthers. I don't know if they would do it. I just think like if that happened, it'd be like, okay, like I like that. I can get on board with that.
They're losing T.Y. They're probably not bringing T.Y. back. They have Zach Pascal. They have Michael Pittman. They have Paris Campbell they want. They've got the tight ends. They probably need a left tackle, but I don't want any of the guys who are left here for them. So instead, we're just going to go with J.C. Horn.
Okay.
Doing it.
There it is.
Doing it.
Made that pick before, so nothing too out of the ordinary. The Tennessee Titans, man, oh man, what a free agency!
Lord, Titans moved on from Malcolm Butler. They didn't re-sign Jonnu Smith. They got rid of Adoree Jackson. Jayon Brown returned. They signed Bud Dupree. They brought in Janoris Jenkins. They also brought in Kevin Johnson. Just a lot of change. Felt like there was just a ton of change going on in Tennessee. They lost their offensive coordinator as well. Of course, Arthur Smith going over to the Atlanta Falcons. Man, a ton of change. Who's left at corner? Greg Newsome could be the pick here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that could make sense for them. I'm looking at their projected depth chart now.
Yeah, they have some options. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is still there. They did sign Bud Dupree, but if they did want... Actually, I think they're pretty fine with Landry and Dupree on the outside.
Yeah, no, I think
they're good. They're good.
Nah, we're going Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman's the best pick for him. Sorry if I was making you guys sweat too much. That's the best pick, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Jets. Ooh, Kwity Paye is very tempting here, but I also think the corner would be really important for them. With Greg Newsome still being there, I think that's the direction that we got to go, given that they got themselves Lawson, so the edge need isn't dire. You got Lawson on one side, maybe Zuniga on the other. They'd probably like to upgrade that, but I don't know if they have to nearly as much as corner. They got Blesson Austin on one side, Bryce Hall on the other. I think it's got to be Greg Newsome because you're hoping that Bryce Hall is going to be good, but you also don't. I mean, it's not a 100% sure thing. So let's go with Greg Newsome. I think that makes the most sense for the Jets. Pittsburgh Steelers lost Mike Hilton, still have Joe Hayden, still need offensive tackle, also need running back, also need interior offensive line.
All right.
I think Landon Dickerson's a good spot here.
They're not in the best situation here. I think they would be, and I know they don't really make too many trades, at least not that I can think of off the top of my head. This would be a good situation for them to trade back if a team did covet any of the guys. Maybe a Mac Jones.
Yeah, they should probably pick Mac Jones.
Oh, you think I was saying they should move back and take Mac Jones, but you think they should take Mac Jones here? I can see that.
They have Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, excuse me. That's future MVP
Okay,
Haskins.
okay.
Hey, he could turn out.
I think they'd pick Mac Jones.
Wow, that will definitely get Steelers fans riled up in the comments right now. Grade this pick, please.
I think they'd pick Mac Jones. Because Ben Roethlisberger wasn't good last year. Mason Rudolph's obviously not going to be your franchise quarterback. Dwayne Haskins is an absolute flyer of a pickup. So if you have Mac Jones and you think that he might be better than the other guys that you have to potentially take over after Roethlisberger, you do it, right? But also, you brought Big Ben back to make a run. You brought back Juju Smith-Schuster as well. So would you not go all in?
Yeah, that's tough.
The Steelers are so difficult because I think the Steelers think they're good, and I don't think the Steelers are good. So it's hard. It's hard for me to don't get me wrong. Defense was incredible. They have some incredible defensive players, but I think that Ben's arm is shot, and I think that offense has clearly not been the same since, especially Antonio Brown hasn't been there. Juju Smith-Schuster wasn't comfortable taking the role that he had last year. I don't know, man. You're losing 2 starters in the offensive line. I'll go Landon Dickerson here because I feel like he feels like a Steelers pick, but it's tough. So we'll go Landon Dickerson for the Steelers.
Yeah, I would definitely not be surprised if they're put in the situation they would want to move back. That's what I think could be possible. But Dickerson, he screams Pittsburgh Steelers, which brings us to the Jaguars. The first pick, they shocked the world and took Trevor Lawrence, allowing them to take best player available, or you teased tight end. Is that still what you're thinking here?
Yeah, we're going tight end.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, we're going tight end. We're going tight end. Urban Meyer has talked about them adding a tight end for a while now, and I mean, he's talked about adding a pure receiving tight end. I mean, Brevin Jordan could be that guy if they didn't want to pick Pat Freiermuth here, but I'm going to have them pick Pat Freiermuth here because I think that he's more of the all-around tight end. And he's good. I mean, I think he'll be a fringe first rounder. He might not end up in the first round when it's all said and done, but I think that some teams are going to consider it. So with the Jaguars talking about tight end as much as they have, we'll go Pat Freiermuth here from Penn State. Mm-hmm. Cleveland Browns, they added Takk McKinley to go opposite Myles Garrett, but it's not they were adding Takk McKinley to a major contract and they won't look up for edge. I mean, he only signed a 1-year, $4 million deal. Also brought in Malik Jackson. Re-signed Malcolm Smith. Their big additions were in the secondary. They signed Troy Hill, the corner, and then John Johnson, who I think was a really great signing for them in the secondary. Brought back Rashard Higgins as well. Yeah, I mean, with Kwity Paye here, I think that's probably where I'm going. I think that makes the most sense for him. I don't think Takk McKinley sways you away from that too much. So let's go Kwity Paye, the edge rusher from Michigan. Heavy-handed, can play on one side. Myles Garrett can play on the other, and I think that you can get a lot of interchangeable roles between those two. Not saying they're the same player. Not saying that. Everybody calm down. But I think that Kwity Paye certainly gives you the ability to, play that 5-tech, really leave him in there on all downs. And with Takk McKinley there, you also don't have to play Kwity Paye on every single down. You could really let him ease into the NFL a little bit because I think that he's going to be a really good edge rusher when it's all said and done. Baltimore Ravens, they lost Matt Judon. They also lost Yannick Ngakoue. Also have a huge safety need. I think Trayvon Merrick would be really big for them here. Wide receiver, sure, if Rashad Bateman made it to 27. I don't think he's making it to 27. You're basically looking at Gregory Rousseau. Oh, man. Because what is their edge? Are they desperate for edge right now?
Keep in mind, too, they are likely going to trade Orlando Brown, which could open up, another hole potentially on their offensive line.
They fixed the interior offensive line. Well, at least plugged in somebody new there with Kevin Zeitler. Re-signed Tyus Bowser, so you're clearly having high hopes for him. But, oh, man, yeah. Oh, they need
They need, they could use that, but do you think they could consider Merrick here? Cause maybe it's just the fact that he wore purple in college is giving me this image, and oh my God, he would be perfect in a Ravens uniform. That's probably what it is. No, that's how we make our picks, by the way. We just base it on what uniform they wore in college. That works. NFL.
No, I think that Merrick could absolutely be on the board for him. I think they'll go Gregory Rousseau, though. I think that they'll stick with edge. I think they've prioritized edge a little bit more. So, especially with losing both Judon and Ngakoue, I think that they will go Greg Rousseau here. So let's do that. Let's do that one. Saints.
Oh. Okay.
Saints offseason moves. Re-signed Jameis Winston. Moved on from Janoris Jenkins. Re-signed PJ Williams. We have corner as their top need. They have Lattimore. They have Williams if they're comfortable with that.
I know
they somehow, some way franchise tagged Marcus Williams, which just I don't understand how they were able to do that. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's obviously their nickel. They could probably use an outside corner, but Newsome is gone. Would they go? Would they go Asante Samuel here?
Oh, okay. That was a completely different direction. I was thinking maybe they would go there. I was thinking more along the lines of, look, you re-signed Jameis Winston. You just paid Taysom Hill a bunch, even though a lot of it's voidable. But could the Mac attack come to the Big Easy? I know the championship window is closing.
I don't think they'd do that. I think we're looking at either like Kadarius Toney, if they want to go wide receiver because they lost. Oh, I guess Terrace Marshall makes a lot of sense too because he can be more of a vertical threat for you, and they lost Emmanuel Sanders, who was a big vertical threat for them. So maybe Terrace Marshall. Who's left at corner? Can I see the corner board?
Yep.
Maybe they think they can wait a little bit on corner.
Yeah, I would imagine too. And with receivers, if you are talking about like Toney versus Marshall might be a
receiver
deep bet. But Sean Payton and Drew Brees, I know Drew Brees, happy retirement, Drew Brees, but Sean Payton has been very vocal about how much he loves Tyreek Hill. And again, I'm not saying Kadarius Toney is Tyreek Hill. Not saying that. We're not doing that.
That's what I heard.
But they could use Toney similarly to Hill. I think that appeal, that might give Toney the edge over any of the other receivers available.
We'll do it. You convinced me. Kadarius Toney. We'll go to Kadarius Toney here at 28. Could go a couple of different directions there. Green Bay Packers at 29. Packers free agency moves.
They'll probably take Najee Harris then, based off the recent draft history. I'm kidding, Packers fans.
Jeez. They need a solid corner to play on the outside.
A lot of teams needing cornerbacks.
Well, it's an important position, Zach. They don't want it. They love Jair, obviously. Adrian Amos has been good. Darnell Savage has been really good as well. But they need an outside corner. I think this has got to be a cornerback pick for him. Let's go. Let's see the cornerback board. I think that they would consider Stokes or Ifeatu Melifonwu.
Ooh, yeah, Melifonwu's been getting a lot of love lately.
Yeah, I mean, his pro day was awesome as well. Kelvin Joseph, I also think that they would really like. I don't know if he goes in the first round though. So let's actually have some fun and let's go Ifeatu Melifonwu.
Okay, nice.
There you go, Packers fans. Hate on. Ooh. Bills brought back Levi Wallace, but that should not deter them from taking a potential CB2 opposite Trey White.
But
also re-signed Matt Milano. Signed Darrell Williams. Signed Emmanuel Sanders. Also signed Mitch Trubisky, so we're good there.
Nice. Got their quarterback of the future.
Who's left at edge? Who do we got at edge?
There's a few. Not too much. I take that back. It's a solid. It's not bad. I feel like edge and cornerback have really been, and offensive tackle maybe too, have been the most picked positions thus far. Like they're relatively barren, I would think, compared to some other positions.
I know they loved Kyle Duggar last year, and Owusu-Koramoah is still on the board.
That can make a ton of sense.
I think it does. No, let me see corner. I think I'm going to go Eric Stokes. Here. Yeah, let's go Eric Stokes. Let's do it.
I believe that is. And check out this neat little feature. Bam, show drafted. That's 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. That's not too bad. But.
Wow, look at the magic of the mock draft machine. All right, so let's go to offensive tackle because that's a major need here for Kansas City Chiefs. I would love to give the Chiefs Liam Eichenberg, but can't because he's not on the board. They signed Joe Thuney to a massive contract, re-signed Mike Remmers, who they should still be worried about at offensive tackle, brought Kyle Long back out of retirement. So those are 2 interior offensive line needs that they have there. I mean, it has to be offensive tackle. I guess you're going to go with Dylan Radins because I do not think you're going to be able to throw Jalen Mayfield out there like year 1, unless they're cool with Jalen Mayfield really developing. Fine. I mean, he's an awesome athlete. I think he'd be a better guard. Like, I think Jalen Mayfield would be an potential all-pro guard. His burst, his ability to get to the second level, his ability to pull, climb, get lateral and zone blocking. Like, it's, dude, he's a massive man that moves really well. I don't really think he's know what he's doing at offensive tackle yet. And I think the worst part of his game is his kickbacks. And I think that if you leave him more at interior offensive line, you get to mask that weakness a lot more, and you just get to get the best of what Jalen Mayfield does right now.
So Raiders is this?
Yes.
We'll lock it in. We'll lock it in. I'm gonna click it. You got any other?
Do it. Fine. Click it.
Brings us to the final pick, which we will recap all of the picks in 1 quick second. But 32.
Well, Najee Harris. Najee Harris probably makes the most sense for him.
Luxury pick. Gotta love it. And that ends that.
All right, there we go. That is our post-free agency mock draft. I think we did well for exploring logic of teams. However, we didn't pick Trayvon Merrick, and I think Trayvon Merrick goes in the first round. We didn't pick Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. 100% Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah goes in the first round. It just I didn't have a landing spot for him. I was just going with other logic, but I want people to know that he's absolutely going in the first round. No Nick Bolton, no Zaven Collins.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones didn't go in the first round. I think that he probably would be a guy that teams might trade up for in the back end of the first round. Everybody else, I'm pretty confident could be first round picks. It was just we did this one a little bit different. The major one was Owusu-Koramoah, who's absolutely going in the first round. 4 quarterbacks went at the top of this draft. We had a new trade up partner with the Denver Broncos, trading up with the Atlanta Falcons. Penei Sewell went 5 to the Bengals. Pitts went 6 to the Eagles. Slater to the Miami Dolphins. Caleb Farley. That was an interesting trade. Farley to replace Patrick Peterson. The fun San Francisco 49ers getting Jalen Waddle. I had a little bit of fun doing that. I picked that with a smile on my face. New England Patriots still going Devontae Smith, even though they signed a couple of wide receivers and some tight ends. I think they realized that they were very depleted and needed to not be. Raiders got an offensive tackle they so desperately needed in Tevin Jenkins. Michael Parsons slide stopped at number 18. Liam Eichenberg went to the Chicago Bears because they need an offensive lineman that can start right away. J.C. Horn to the Colts. I still, even with Xavier Rhodes coming back, I still think that's a possibility. Rashad Bateman to the Titans. I really like that one. Same with Greg Newsome going to the New York Jets. Pittsburgh Steelers was a really tough one to pick, but landed on Landon Dickerson. Pat Freiermuth to the Jaguars. They've talked about adding a tight end all offseason, so that's their big one that they had there. Kadarius Toney is who we landed on for the New Orleans Saints. Ifeatu Melifonwu for the Green Bay Packers, giving them a tall, athletic outside corner. Dylan Radins to the Chiefs, hopefully upgrade their offensive line, and then the Buccaneers taking Najee Harris at the end. So, all right, there we go. That's fun. I felt different doing that mock. I felt like that was a nice switch from what has been the norm over the last couple of months.
It's like we said, like now is it. We've got maybe probably be a few more signings. There's still some decent free agents left. Right. I don't know how many of them will impact needs too much. Maybe we'll
in
get
the first round, especially.
Yes, definitely. be some deals. Of course, it's just how the NFL offseason goes. But that's your mock draft. And, there's, like I said, I back Jones, Owusu-Koramoah, probably first-round picks.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll continue to explore because this won't be our last mock draft together, Trevor. Definitely not.
No, this is very true. We got another one coming next week on Sunday. We have one before that on Thursday night. We got a great guest lined up for that one. So very excited. Can't tell you yet. So I'm leaving it. It's a cliffhanger. It's a teaser, but that's what we got to do. We got to have you guys tune in on Thursday to find out who the guest is. But I can tell you it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, of course, another post-free agency mock draft. And we're going to get somebody else's opinion on who they think teams will be drafting on draft night. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That's Zach Cohen. Tune in on Thursday night for another episode of TDN's live mock draft series.